His footwork will mirror an offensive lineman. He does such a good job. Most tight ends.
He's one of the dopest engineers in the game. The head engineer exclusively for Prodigy of Mobb Deep. 10 Prodigy of Mobb Deep albums. The Hegelian Dialectic. The Book of Revelation.
It's a pleasure, man. That body of work is crazy. I mean,
Joe the engineer, now we do this shit, nigga.
333, that's a sign from the heavens. Just look up in the heavens, Joe in that next room sparking. That next room sparking. That's a sign from the heavens, the heavens. Joe in that next room sparking. That next room sparking. In the heavens, the heavens. 333. That's a sign from the heavens. Just look up in the heavens, Where the fucking weed at? Dopest engineers in the game. One of the dopest engineers in the game.
What up, everybody? What up? It is time for the Dour Hour. I am Joe the Engineer. Y'all are the 333, and I guess we all make dour people. What up? Chris, I appreciate it. It's funny how the YouTube game works, because if you were able to monetize your channel, YouTube sent out a missive last year that they're gonna monetize your videos whether you want to monetize them or not. So even if you make them non-monetized, YouTube is going to put their own ads on there. So the best way I feel like is for me to monetize the shits and then make sure that they're all skippable so you don't have to watch them. Or you can just skip right past them motherfuckers. But if it was up to me, it would just go live and we'd be rocking. But it ain't up to me. I do not run YouTube. Anyway, what up, everybody? What up, Chris? I'm fresh back from Pandora. We will see when the Dour People actually shows up today. But I will give a review on... No, they don't pay you. If you don't choose to monetize, they monetize on your videos anyway. And they keep the money. So you might as well monetize all your videos. That's just the way the YouTube game works. It's fucking stupid, but there's nothing we can do about it. Ain't that right? So, yeah, man, I went to Pandora last night. Man, that movie is too fucking long. Like, 3.5 hours is stupid. And it's not like it's 3.5 hours of storytelling or there's a narrative that takes that long to craft. No. That's not how this movie goes at all. It is about 3 hours of just fucking you in the eyeballs with just the most ridiculous visuals of all time. And then there's like a half hour of story. So, it was a visual fest. Like, there's never been a movie that looks like that. It makes all other CGI and animation look like children drew it in kindergarten. It's so far, leaps and bounds far beyond anything else that's ever been done. But 3.5 hours of it, even you get tired of it. It's just like, yo, can we get this fucking thing moving? So humans are not wired to sit for that long anymore. And there was no intermissions. There was no breaks. It was just you are sitting here and you are watching this shit. Is it worth it? Yeah, I think everybody should go see it. But make sure you see it in like the highest resolution and on an IMAX screen so you can actually take in the visuals. I would recommend eating some mushrooms before you go. The story is literally Avatar 1 in the water. Like, it's the same goddamn story. It's the same fucking story. But, you know, nobody watches Avatar for the narrative or the you know, character growth or development or anything like that. You're just watching it to have an orgasm. You're just watching it so you can see all these ridiculous visuals. I will say, oh, come on, camera. I hate it when that happens. There we go. I will say, I mean, kudos to them. Some of those things, like the water, how in the world do they make it look that real? And the physics engines that they used so that the water, everything behaves properly underwater or being submerged. Technically, what a fucking achievement. Story-wise, nah, bruh. Like, come on, 3.5 hours. Like, there were some teenagers sitting to the left of me. An hour and some change into it, they stopped watching the movie and got on Instagram. They were on Instagram for like an hour straight until their phone died. And then they still had an hour and a half of the movie left. After watching an hour, being on Instagram for an hour, they still had another hour and a half movie to watch. It was just... I keep harping to anybody who will listen to me like it's too fucking long. It's too long to be sitting in a movie theater in one place just staring at this thing. You're just watching a painting, essentially. Like, it's just digital art. Incredibly done, like, technically, but, you know, acting-wise, like, come on, man. We spent billions of dollars on these movies, and this is the best you can get. Like, some of the people were just not any good. It's a lot of voice acting and whatnot, and it just... I mean, it's not going to make $2 billion like they need it to break even. I can guarantee that. Because people like me exist. And we're going to be like, all right, this is a little bit much. 3.5 hours, yo. The previews were 35 minutes. So if you got in for the first preview, it was a 4-hour fucking experience. Do not take a girl to that movie. You're going to end up leaving halfway through if she gets bored because, you know, you got to make her happy. But, dude, 4 fucking hours? 4 hours? No, I was high as shit. Like, super high. So, as soon as we pull up to the venue, me and the roommate, I faced a blunt. Boom, 20 minutes, bam, front to back, just inhaled that motherfucker. And then she was smoking, and then we went in there, and we had all kinds of edibles with us. So it's a good thing about this theater in Brooklyn is they don't have no security. They don't check nothing. We just walked in pockets full of food and shit. So we had a bunch of gummies, some chocolates, and some medicated hot sauce. And so we were just putting hot sauce on the popcorn throughout this whole fucking movie. And I know I would have... I swear to God, if you watch it 2 hours, if you show up halfway through, you're not going to... It won't change the story for you. The first 2 hours is just them, you know, exiting where they live and joining the water tribe and then learning how to swim like they do. It was like... just too long, man. It's too long. I swear to God, they could have cut a full hour out of that movie and you wouldn't even have noticed. Like, you just wouldn't even have noticed. They have multiple scenes that are like 10, 15 minutes of people just swimming underwater. Like, I get it. They're water people now. We don't have to have 10 minutes of them swimming underwater. Just make it a minute. It proves the fucking point. So anyway, it's just a whole bunch of that going on. So, do I recommend people to go watch Avatar? Well, without giving out any spoilers, because, you know, I know not everybody has seen it yet, that's for sure. Man, if you really like the first one, then go experience it. If you want to have a full visual fest, eat some mushrooms and then go watch that shit. But if you don't like Avatar, do not go. You're just going to be so bad. You're going to be... It's just too long. Like, about 2 hours, two and a half hours into it, you can start to feel the vibe in the theater as people need to go to the bathroom. They want to get food. Like, there's constantly people walking in front of you and shit. And, it's just too long. Sam, what up, homie? It is too fucking long. So, you know, the roommate says that she's definitely seen movies that felt longer than that one. And I will say it was a weird paradox. Because it didn't feel like it was 4 hours long, but the movie felt like it was 4 hours long, if that makes any sense. Like, the time that actually went by in order to experience this didn't seem like 4 hours, because you're kind of locked in, and plus I was high as shit. So, you're like kind of locked in, and you're trying to take in as many visuals as you can because there's so many different things, flowers, and now it's all underwater, so it's all this brightly colored shit and underwater and whatnot. So you're constantly checking out the screen to see what else they got on the screen. Like, what else did they do that's fucking dope? But the movie is so poorly paced and drug on for so fucking long that it definitely felt like... The movie felt like it was more than 4 hours. I was just like, yo, can they get to the fucking point? So, I don't know if you guys ever watched Star Wars, but when The Force Awakens came out, it was literally the first Star Wars remade for like a younger, newer audience, and that's kind of what this was. It's Pandora, it's Avatar, it's Jake Sully, it's Neytiri, it's all of that shit with water. Pretty much the same narrative, the same stories. They somehow brought back the dude from the first one, Colonel Miles. The one in 2012 was like a little under 3 hours. But, you know, they brought back Colonel Miles even though he was killed in the first one. That's another thing that these people keep doing. Like, why you brought back the same fucking villain? Why you brought him back to life and shit? Found a way to make him come back to life in this movie instead of just making up writing new villains. So, I mean, are we in a universe where there are no consequences or stakes except like the planet's health? Is that it? Because I don't know if you guys watched Black Adam. That movie fucking sucked. And when you find out that The Rock has it in his contract that he's not allowed to lose any fights in any of his movies. So what are the fucking stakes? Like, you go and watch Black Adam knowing that it's in his contract that he cannot lose any fights on screen. So just like, what's the fucking point of watching this movie then? There's no risk, there's no stakes, there's nothing, there's no tension, there's no nothing. It's just like, alright, he's about to beat this next dude up. Go to the next guy, he's about to fuck this guy up. You know, so I personally I didn't go to the theater to watch Black Adam, that's for sure. But I personally I'm not even going to watch movies with The Rock in it where he's fighting somebody, because You already know the outcome. There's not even a guess. Legally, he refuses to lose a fight on camera. If I could replace any movie from an old series and make it be 3.5 hours long, none of them, dude. That's too goddamn long. That is too long. It's just too much. You know, if you watch Kill Bill, both of them back to back, I don't even think it's that long. And, you know, Kill Bill was supposed to be one movie, and then Tarantino split it up into two because he didn't want to cut a whole bunch of shit out. I guess Hateful Eight's pretty long, too. I know that's up there around 3 hours, and I've seen that movie 1,000 times. But this one, good God. I'm telling you, visually, absolutely stunning. They had their Universal Studios bullshit, like... Alright, so there's a couple chase scenes in this movie that I swear to God they just ripped straight out of a 3D shooter game. So I don't know if you've ever been to like Dave & Buster's or a huge arcade where they have those games where you sit down in the thing and you put on the goggles and it like moves and you're like shooting. You're constantly progressing forward and you have to shoot at things. I swear to God, there are 2 separate chase scenes in that movie where I thought I would just... The way everything played out, I'm like, I've seen this before. This is like a fucking carnival ride. This is like a Dave & Buster's. So, I mean, it's not like I'm not going to watch the 3rd or 4th one or however many of them that they're going to make. I'm definitely watching all of them, and I will go to the theater for all of them. But, like, can we not do that again, James Cameron? Yeah, no, like Chris, he can't. These are the types of shit that make me not like The Rock. It's stuff like that. Like, it's such a crafted public image, and I understand the machine and how much money's being generated and all that shit, so you do have to make sure you control the narrative. But, like, come on, dude, it's such a crafted fucking image of him being just like this flawless, perfect being. So much so that he won't do a movie unless it's in his contract that he doesn't lose a fight in the movie. Yo, so Chris, there's not even like a redemption arc possible with The Rock in a movie. It's not like he will lose a fight in the beginning and then somehow learn to pick himself up off the ground, better himself mentally, physically, spiritually, metaphysically, all that shit, and then go back into the fight against who beat you previously and get a W. He doesn't even allow for a character arc like that. He will refuse to be in it if he loses a fight. And it's just like, yo, come on, dude. First of all, it's a fucking movie. It's not real life. Get over yourself. You're not actually Black Adam. You're Dwayne Johnson. Like, let's be realistic here. I will say that they had a preview for Creed 3. And, you know, that movie looks dope as fuck. If you watch the Rocky series, he's just redoing Rocky 3. Kinda, with his own twist. The one with Mr. T in it. But I will give them credit for this. This is the first sports movie like this that was shot in IMAX. Yo, it looks so fucking dope. It looks so dope the way that they shot this. And shout out to Michael B. Jordan because he directed Creed 3. So not as only is he the star, this is his directorial debut, and they decided to shoot it in IMAX, and it looks absolutely fucking incredible. The fight scenes and the corner scenes with his trainer and shit in IMAX, wow. Wow, it was just like, absolutely, it looks so fucking dope. And the other thing that I'll take away from that movie experience is Tom Cruise is an absolute and total fucking psychopath. So me and my roommate discussed this at length on the drive home from the theater. Because Tom Cruise has another Mission Impossible coming out. And to celebrate, he base jumps off of this giant ramp over a waterfall or something, but off of a motorcycle and base jumps. And he really does it because Tom Cruise does all his own stunts. This is why he's a psychopath. But when you see this fucking jump that he did, and then you think to yourself, this is what the gift of perspective gives me. This is what it made me think of when I saw this. How dead inside is Tom Cruise that he actually has to do shit like that to feel alive? Like, being Scientology Jesus has got to be like a killer metaphysically. So he does shit like that so he can remind himself that he's still alive. And yes, I will forever call him Scientology Jesus, because if there was a Jesus in the cult of Scientology, then Tom Cruise would be Jesus. Now, if anybody that watches this happens to be a Scientologist, I'm not good for you, whatever you got to do, books you got to read, discipline you have to undertake, anything like that you have to do that makes you a better person, I'm all for it. Do whatever it fucking takes. But if you're just a member of the cult of Scientology, nah, bro, you did that to yourself. Maybe the ones who are born into it, they can't really do anything until they're an adult. So, I'm going to tell you a Scientology story. It's 2020. Looking for a new roommate at the time. And find somebody. Go through the whole interview process. Everything seems to be copacetic and fine. They tell you all the things it is you think that they think you want to hear. So this person, that's all I'm going to refer to them as, moves into my apartment. Exactly 2 days later, they shut down the world. They quarantined everybody and made us sit inside. So, we got quarantined with a person that we just met like 72 hours prior. And, if you've ever had roommates or lived with somebody you dated or had roommates or shit like that, that's when you really get to know who a person is. Because there's nowhere to hide. Like, you're living together. You're going to see all the worst shit. So, we get locked up. Well, not locked up, but locked in with this person. And, on the very first night of lockdown, we're just smoking weed, trying to figure out, this is fucking wild. I'm a conspiracy theorist, so I'm going off about everything that's about to happen. And we were playing Risk. We weren't really playing Risk. I was dominating Risk because I like that game. And I'm ultra competitive, so I was just out to destroy this new roommate, just kind of set the tone. And this person looks at us and says, I didn't tell you this during the interview or anything, but I feel like I should tell you this now, you need to know this. I grew up in the Church of Scientology, and I have been excommunicated from the church because of their sexual preference, because you can't be gay in Scientology, apparently. And, there's a distinct possibility, might be some people go through our garbage or some wild shit like that, because these people are, crazy, right? Poker face. I didn't even crack. I didn't even be like, oh shit, that's what. Nothing. I just looked at her and I said, I have so many questions. And she looked at me and she's just like, yo, what I tell most people that I, was in Scientology and then get excommunicated and all that shit, they usually freak out. She's like, you have questions? I have so many questions. The very first question I asked them was, is Tom Cruise Jesus? And they looked at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, is Tom Cruise your Jesus? he's Jesus in your like little cult, right? And they tried to explain to me the hierarchy and shit like that, but all I heard was, yeah, Tom Cruise is our Jesus. So I will tell you, I have met some psychotic humans in my life. It comes with the territory. You work in rap for 2 decades. You're dealing with artists and people with massive egos, inflated sense of self-importance, delusions of grandeur. You know, all these mental defects that come along with being a creative. I would know I'm a creative. I have them all. I have met some absolute and total fucking psychos. I have never met anybody crazier than this person. Absolute 100% nut job. Like, complete insanity. Total disconnect with reality. And no social skills whatsoever. Like, none. Did not have the ability to interact with other human beings properly. Just an absolute and total fucking mess. Now, I'll tell you an even crazier story, because it looks like the Dour people are not joining me today, and I gotta have something to talk about. So, there came a standoff, because this person had stolen things from me, and I knew it. I called them out on it. And this retard calls the police on me. Now, clearly she just moved in. She didn't know who or what she was dealing with. And I'm not saying that I'm a big deal, because I am not in any way whatsoever. But I do happen to have, thanks to P, a pretty good working knowledge of the art of manipulation. So there was no way in the world that this situation was going to go bad for me, because I didn't do anything. This person stole off of me. So police come. I talk to them for somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes, and then they look at me, and they look at them. They look at me and like, you want to press charges? I was like, is it actually going to do anything? They said, well, if you don't have it on video, and since the world is shut down, we're not arresting people for anything less than murder. And I was just like, well, so nothing's going to come out of this. So then the standoff began between me and this person. Because in New York City, especially during that time period, you could not evict anyone for anything. Like, anything. It was not happening. So I had to figure out some way to get this idiot out of my house. And I was being an asshole about it. I was just saying all the worst shit about them to their face and in the room with them. Like, every conversation I would have, I'd be like, yeah, I can't believe this motherfucker's still here. Like, just going off. And they'd always be like, oh, you know, I'm right here. I'm like, yeah, I said it on purpose, you dumbass. Like, I had a locksmith come and change all the locks in the house so this person couldn't even get into the backyard. Like, they could only go from their room to the bathroom, essentially. And I could not get this person out. It was impossible. It was like a 2.5 week standoff. And then a bunch of money. So I couldn't get this person out. And all of a sudden one day, bang on my door. Now, this person and I had not even acknowledged each other's existence for about 3 weeks now. So, let alone speak to each other. And they're extremely upset. And they say, did you cut off the internet? And I was just like, no, I didn't. Clearly, you haven't been. I didn't say this second part, but, you know, in Brooklyn, internet goes out all the fucking time. It sucks. But seeing the absolute emotion and anger in this human being's, well, in this lizard's face, at not having access to the internet, I was just like, oh, she just cracked. Like, they played their hand right there. Like, now I knew a trigger, I knew a hot button issue that I could press. So my computer, because of, live streaming Pro Tool sessions and things like that, I don't use Wi-Fi. I'm actually hardwired directly into the internet. I need the highest connectivity and transfer speed as possible. So I just took the Wi-Fi router out of the rotation and killed the Wi-Fi in the house. And then shut my door and just waited. And I promise you, it was less than 24 hours later, they were gone. Completely packed up, moved out, and had moved on. So I wish I had done that 3 weeks earlier, but, I was so angry about the scenario and whatnot that all of my thoughts and reactions were anger-based, so I wasn't thinking logistically clear enough. That shit was absolutely fucking insane. So when I cleaned up the room after they moved out, y'all not gonna believe this shit. A, they stole the fucking flat screen TV off the wall. I was in such a rush to get her out that I didn't even notice until, it was time to go clean up the room. I was like, where the fucking TV at? And then the real horror began, because now I had to clean up after this person. It was 4 completely full, I'm talking big industrial sized garbage bags. 4 of them completely full. There were plates, bowls, silverware that had food, crust, mold, under the bed, a bunch of them. Apparently, every time this individual ate, they just threw the dishes under the bed instead of actually washing the dishes. There was a giant blood stain in the middle of the fucking mattress, because the room was furnished. There's just a big blood stain. I'm just like, what in the actual fuck is going on in here? Did you kill somebody? What the fuck is... I knew what it was, but completely in denial at this point. There were used tampon applicators on the floor. Larry Bird, what up, homie? And I was just like, yo, this person, were they changing them in here? We have 2 bathrooms. What the fuck is really going on here? Yeah, dude, it was disgusting. What else did I find? Before I get to the last thing that I found, that I was just like, all right, that's it, I quit. An untold amount of broken things and garbage and just stuff under the bed. Basically, if you take an ashtray, Ant, what up, man? If you take an ashtray from me after a week and then just dump it in between the wall and the mattress, it was jammed in between. Well, dude, you couldn't kick them out. For the last couple months, they weren't paying rent. There's nothing you can do about it in New York during the time. It's fucking stupid. So there was a month's worth of ashes just jammed in between the wall and the mattress. I mean, that mattress had to go anyway. It had a blood stain in the middle of it. That shit's gone. Get this shit the fuck out of here. And, as I'm getting down, I'm peeling back the layers of this nonsense, and I finally make it to the fucking floor. I'm like, holy shit, there is a floor here. I don't fucking know, dude. I have no idea. To be perfectly honest with you, absolutely no idea whatsoever. I couldn't tell you. So, as I'm finally making it to the floor, dude, I found a bunch of pills. And I'm talking Skittles bag full of pills, multiple colors and sizes. So, curiosity killed the cat, so I'm like, well, I gotta see what this bitch was on. I have to look this up. And it was anxiety meds was the first one, and then manic stuff for manic depression. And I actually forget what the third one was, but I didn't even look up the fourth one. I was just like, yeah, this human here is actually 100% certified in fucking sane. Dude, it was the grossest thing ever. We had to like deep clean that room and repaint everything, just like scrub everything, gloves, mask, like the whole big deal. Like it was like a hazmat scenario or something. It's just like, yo, we have got to make it seem as if this has never happened, because this place is going to be tainted forever. And yeah, it was absolutely fucking nuts, man. Yeah, shout out to her. I hope she's doing awful, because you're an awful human being. If you watch this, if you ever see this, you are an absolute horrible, horrible human being who deserves all of the bad karma that comes your way, because you are an absolute nightmare of a human. Now, the empathetic part of me, no, she had a little Pomeranian named Mr. Ravioli. So the empathetic part in me now looks back and says, damn, man, could you imagine, like, growing up as her, they, them, whatever she identifies at, in the Church of Scientology, where you're not allowed to be on the gender spectrum? So within that church, they're going to do auditing and clearing or whatever that shit is, and try to, like, audit the gay out of her, right? So it's basically what the Christians would call conversion therapy. It's just the Scientology version of it. Could you imagine growing up like that, where all day, every day of your, like, teenage years, and until you finally get excommunicated or you flee the church, they just try to, like, Scientology your sexuality out of you? No wonder she's fucked up. I think every human being would be fucked up after that. But I ain't need that in my life, especially during the lockdown period. So thank God that Tiger King existed. And Squid Games. It gave me something to kind of do during this time period where it was like a standoff between me and, you know, an ex-member of the Church of Scientology. What a retarded scenario that was. I hated every second of it. It was awful. It was awful. But, yeah, could you imagine, you know, every day when you wake up, it's just like your parents and then everyone around you, your social circle and whatnot, it's just like, yeah, everything you think is wrong, and you're going to go sit in this room and talk about it until you see the world the way that we do. Larry Bird, I'm talking about this roommate that I had who was an absolute and total fucking, like, absolute and total psycho. Like, the most insane human being that I've ever run across. Yeah, and it was terrible. And that they should make a horror movie like that, you know. That'd be an interesting premise. I think, what's the dude that does all the horror movies now? Nope, and all that other, like the other ones. Us, and what was his first one that was dope? Yeah, get that guy to do it. Have him make... I guess it's kind of... I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Village. The Village is kind of like that. It's kind of along those lines. Me personally, I love that fucking movie because I grew up in a town of less than 2,000 people, so the underlying messaging behind The Village is like the control of information, and the people within the village only know what you allow them to know and shit like that, so that you can, like, create your environment, so to say. So that's just what small town pre-internet was actually like. Yeah, Jordan Peele, he should do a movie on it. But now there's, like, you know, the internet, and everyone's Everyone's connected, so you're not stuck with this little box. You can connect to anyone and anything. I mean, shit, we do this shit. I feel like I'm just talking to my people, but this is via YouTube and the internet, so we all fall victims to this cult and horror show, that is for sure. Yeah, Larry Bird, I kind of just was going off. I started off talking about, I keep calling it Pandora. Why do I keep doing that? Started off talking about how Avatar is just entirely way too long of a movie. It's absurdly long. It's so long. It's longer than an NFL football game. That is so stupid. And I'm outrageously patient, so for me to be like, yo, that was way too long, it's too long. And human beings right now are not wired to sit in one place for 4 hours paying attention to one thing. We're just not wired that way anymore, especially the kids. So you can't really aim for the kids with this movie as your target audience to try to sell video games, merchandise, toys, all that shit, if they still do that. You can't aim for the kids because I sat beside some kids. They checked out like an hour into the movie and were on their phone for the middle hour of the movie. They were on their phones. That's what I'm saying, Larry Bird. It's just too long. Like, I know there's 2 more movies. They should have just made it 5 then. Instead of 4 more, they should have made 5 more. Because, like, I'm willing to guess that the other ones are going to be just as long unless a lot of people complain about it just being too fucking long, and then they get the memo and be like, all right, we should probably like make a director's cut and a normal cut, and then if people want to watch a marathon on screen, they can watch the director's cut. But yeah, cut it down, homie. Cut it down. Even 3 hours is a lot to ask. I mean, the story's not that good. When you watch it, you'll see every single movie that they took pieces from to craft that particular story. Yeah, Batman was kind of slow and plotting too, so that one's a little bit difficult to get through. But I'm telling you, we got there at 6:50, and I wanted to make sure we actually got our seats that we paid for. And the preview started at 7 o'clock on the dot. The movie didn't start until almost 7:40. There were over 30 minutes. Like over 30 minutes of previews, which was seriously a half hour of previews. Like, come on. So 3.5 hours of movie, 30 minutes of preview. It's a 4-hour viewing experience. Like, I can drive to Boston if there's no traffic in 4 hours from New York. That's absurd. That's absurd. We're just not built like that. Look at we did Mobb Deep Monday for years, so you can see it within rap music in itself, especially. Pop music has always been around 3-minute songs. It's always been like that. But rap music used to be 3 verses, multiple hooks. 4.5, 5 minutes. Yeah, go play a 5-minute rap song now. It just, by about the 3rd minute, it's got to go. So, it's like, even when I was doing Mobb Deep Monday, if I would play something from, like, The Infamous, or it took 10 years. There'd be, like, 5 fucking rappers on a song, so you're in for a 5-minute long marathon. Dude, 2.5, 3 minutes in, especially if, during those time periods, that's all it was loops. There wasn't, progression and change and movement and things like that. Like 3 minutes of the same beat now in this time period, that's too much. That's too much. You have to cater to your audience. So, I mean, that's... So, Sam, yeah, it's worth going to see in the theater because it's visually stunning. Like, I caught myself actually shaking my head at how good things look. I just couldn't believe it. There were certain things that happened. I was just like, are you fucking... I actually said it, like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? This is what they've been able to do. Like, this is what's next. So I will say that all the Marvel movies that have come out over the last couple years look like children's cartoons compared to this. They really look terrible. Like, you can tell Marvel has mailed it in, and they are just trying to pump out as much content as possible because the quality does not look like that. This shit looks so good, it doesn't actually make sense. The colors, the movement, the physics engine behind everything, just absolutely fucking stunning. And you gotta think, most of the shit's either on water or in water because it's the way of the water. So not only are you having to animate all this stuff and render it and all that, but then you have to make the physics behind the water work properly. And I promise you, there was not one single moment while they're in or on water where it looked fake. You didn't believe that it was actually real. Like, at least the water was real. It's just so impressive. So impressive, the technical aspect. It's a technical achievement. It will win every single technical award there is. It's impossible for it not to. It wasn't as loud as I thought it was going to be. I still had to have earplugs in because theaters are just too, especially the IMAX theater, is just too fucking loud. It wasn't as loud as I thought it was going to be. It wasn't like Top Gun. I left Top Gun and my head hurt. That movie was so loud. Like, I get it. They're fighter jets. You don't have to make it seem like we're actually standing beside a fighter jet. Like, it doesn't have to be that loud. All the previews for it, literally all superhero movies, DC and Marvel. So, you know, things to come from Marvel because they had like 4 previews in that thing. And then Tom Cruise doing his insanity. And Creed. Oh, there was another preview, Oppenheimer, and I'm hyped for that because I love Christopher Nolan's movies. I think he's better than everybody. And if it's his movie, I'm watching the shit. Yeah, Larry Bird, you're not going to be able to know the difference. You know, it's like... So when you go to watch that movie, I kept referring to it as we're going back to Pandora because that's essentially what you're doing. You're going into that world. So when you're in that world, it seems real. I guess that's kind of what happens when people go in VR. You know, you see all those videos of people like putting on the Oculus or whatnot and playing a game or doing whatever, and then they just sprint into the wall because it's really easy if you immerse yourself completely in that to think that you're actually in that environment that's not real. But you will think it's like, I guess it's like smoking salvia. I don't know if you guys have ever smoked salvia, but there was a time period where salvia was 100% legal. And shout out to Chi-Chi, my assistant engineer at the time. He had gotten his hands on some salvia. I'm going to tell you this story. This is hilarious. Gotten his hands on some salvia. There was 85 times strength. So salvia was rated by a number on the front, like what its potency was. And, you know, I had smoked it a couple times, 10, 20% or whatever. This was 85 times. And I will tell you, you leave the planet. You're not literally on this planet anymore. So the massive salvia trip that I took. So I sat down. This is Infamous Studios. We didn't have shit to do. There was no sessions that day. And it was me, Hurricane Ike, Rain Man, Chi-Chi, I think there was one more person there. I don't know if Tito was there or not. Or if it was no ID. Fuck. Man. So anyway, we didn't have shit to do. Chi-Chi's just like, yo, I got this salvia. I was like, fuck it, let's do it. So, you know, you need a babysitter when you smoke salvia because you will walk into traffic and think you're in a field of like roses or something. So anyway. I've sat down at the console at Infamous Studios because I wanted to try to control my trip or whatever. And I was like, maybe I'm going to learn something about mixing or something on this journey. So I take the hit and I hold it as long as possible. And I blow it out. And there was a fish tank in the hallway. We had this big ass, like 90-gallon fish tank. So you could always hear the filter running. And I just heard, since I heard that water running, all of a sudden, the studio just starts filling up with water, like very slowly. And now I remember looking at all of my interns and assistants and saying to them, like, yo, everything is wet. And I looked out at myself, and I had water just pouring off of me. Apparently, my mind made my body think it was to induce whatever it was, but I was sweating like I had just run a marathon in Arizona. Like, just poured off me. I was like, yo, everything is wet. And I remember them being like, God damn, dude. Like, it was instantly just profusely sweating. So I sit back down, and I'm just like, all right, here we go. I'm about to be out this motherfucker. And the console folded in half, like origami. And it just disappeared slowly into the water. Now, mind you, everything is still filling up with water. And it's like, I look back and the studio is full of water. And there's like chairs floating and shit. And I was just like, and then I started floating. I'm just like, oh, snap. Like, no interns. They're all gone now. I don't know if they drowned in this water. I don't know where I'm at. All I know is I'm now in water. And I looked around. The studio's not the studio anymore. It was just white. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? And then I thought a chair bumped into me that was floating. And I looked, and that was not a chair. It was an ice cube. Like a giant one. Gigantic fucking ice cube. I was like, oh, what the fuck? So I swam over to the wall, the edge, and you know, I reached up to the ledge, and I pulled myself up out of the liquid, and I was at a barbecue in a park, right? And I was in somebody's purple drink. And they looked down, they just go, ew. And they just threw out the purple drink, which threw me out into the fucking grass. Like, ugh. And I land, and something grabs my feet. Now, I'm on face down on the ground. And something grabs my feet, and it feels like it's dragging me across the ground. And my arms are getting dragged behind me, and you can, like, literally feel that I'm being dragged across something. And I remember looking down and being like, yo, what is that? And I wasn't being dragged across grass anymore. I was being dragged across a film reel. Like, just a bunch of, like, an old school film. And it was just I'm being dragged across it. And it's just shit from my past. Like, going in front of me. Like, you know, it's my parents' house in the 80s and shit with the ugly 80s carpet and all that stuff. And, you know, the Married with Children refrigerator and stuff like that. And then I see one of the frames is coming by, and I'm like looking into it, and I look, it's my twin sister, and she's in my parents' house, and she's coloring in a coloring book, and she was mad small. And I was like, no fucking way. So I like actually jumped into that frame and ran over and was just like, yo, you are not going to believe this shit. And she's looking at me like she doesn't know who I am, clearly. And I looked back, and it was Indiana Jones time, because that frame that I had crawled into was about to disappear. So I like run really fast, and I dove back through the frame, and when I went through the frame, I just woke up in the studio, like instantly. It was just like, and I was just like, whoa, that was the wildest shit ever. And then I asked Chi-Chi and everybody, I was just like, yo, what did I do? They're like, you didn't even move. You sat there and stared dead at the wall for 10 straight minutes and did not fucking move once. I was just like, you are not going to believe the shit that I just went through. Yo, no, you definitely weren't there for that one. This was way before your time period. Where the fuck you been at?
Who's that?
Nah, this is when we smoked salvia at the studio.
I just got mad down and then I saw this, so I clicked it.
You forgot? God, at least he's dour this time. Yo, you forgot about 3:33 today, dude?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell I was doing at 3:33, but nah, what, salvia at the studio? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, this was before you got there, man. And I'll tell you that I'm not going to rehash that story, but I went from floating. The studio filled up with water, and I ended up in somebody's purple drink at a barbecue.
Nice.
Long story short, but so all I talked about today is I went and watched Avatar last night.
Nice. Did you enjoy the film?
I enjoyed watching the movie because it looks great. I did not enjoy the experience because it's 4 fucking hours, dude. Are you serious? Mr. Arian, what up, homie?
Can't even go to the bathroom.
Yeah, there was no intermissions or not. I mean, you can go. You come back, you're not going to miss much.
That's what I'm,
you don't want to miss anything, though, right?
I need to pause the movie. That's what I'm saying. So, like, I haven't been to the movies. I think Jay and Silent Bob was the last shit I saw. That was 2019.
I don't go to theaters since... No, that's... Yeah,
the reboot.
I would say possibly because, when P was here, we used to go to the movies all the time.
Yeah, we saw that sausage party shit. I remember that. That movie was awful. We, like, almost any movie that came out, he'd be like, yo, let's go watch this shit. So me, him, and the Fox would go watch it. Like, it didn't matter. We watched everything. But I was never really a fan of going to the theater because I like to smoke weed while I watch movies. We took tons of edibles with us last night, so I was smacked. But, 4 hours is too long, yo. 4 hours? You expect people to sit there and watch one thing? Nah.
Yo, the kids beside me were on their phone on Instagram for an hour straight until their phone died. Like in the middle, he checked out and was just like, he didn't even look up once because I just was just like, damn. Because it wasn't. I mean, IMAX isn't cheap, so it's just like, damn, you paid for this and you're on Instagram. This is nuts. But
it's all crazy. It's short attention span. I can't even watch. It takes me a day and a half to watch a movie now because of how many times I stop and do some shit and then fall asleep or this or that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So imagine 4 straight hours of the same thing. Now I know
that probably feels like 6.
Well, I know, like.
It's a flight to Barcelona, dog. Like,
that's why I said, 4 hours is a drive from Boston to New York, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, I have no problem with streaming an entire season of a series in one fucking day. But I don't watch the whole. I don't hit play and.
I can't do it. I can't.
Yeah, but like after an episode, I'll get up and go to the bathroom, walk my dog or something, get some food, and come back and pick it back up. This is 4 hours of commitment, dude. Commitment.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta really want to go do that shit. Like,
and your eyes are tired by the end.
Hell yeah, that's a lot of time.
It's just so much to look at. You're just constantly trying to grab everything because every tiny little detail is incredibly well put together, dude.
Yo, did you see that shit that Severance shows on? That shit was crazy.
No.
Ben Stiller made it. That shit is insane, yo.
I don't really watch too many things, especially when football season starts. Like, I'm only watching football.
You would like that shit, yo. You should check that shit out. It's on Apple TV.
I did go on a run of series before football season hit, and it was like good timing because they were really fucking good. The last season of Better Call Saul, awesome. Finally tied that one off.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And then Terminal List was fucking incredible. Like, that shit is so dope. So dope. And then The Old Man is incredible. Like, absolutely amazing. Absolutely fucking amazing. It's so good. I was just like, who wrote this? Why have I never heard of this before?
Yeah, check that out.
Nah, that one, they're like really, really fucking good. And then football season started, and it's just like, nope, we're watching football. We're watching football. But I did go watch Top Gun in the theater because you have to like go. You have to see that in the theater. They put a fucking IMAX camera in the cockpit of the jet.
Boo was trying to get me to go to that shit with him. I'm just saying, nah. So.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting viewing experience to say the least. But so they made an IMAX camera for that movie that's actually in the jet, and I was just like, well, I have to go watch it now because you actually feel like you're flying a jet, and they use real jets. It's not a whole lot of CGI outside of when they explode because they're not blowing up $20 million planes for a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
So and I was talking about how Tom Cruise is Scientology Jesus.
He's wild.
He's like the number 2 in Scientology, so that makes him Jesus, right?
I guess so.
Well, maybe not. I guess L. Ron Hubbard would be the top. He's the guy who created it. He did say, if you want to get rich, you don't write a book, you start a religion, because he was a failed author. I don't know if you've ever looked up, like, the Scientology, like, the story, their, like, Jesus story. Dude, it is absolutely fucking insane. So, apparently, you're going to love this one. Lord Xenu is some galactic overlord that, like, went and, like, this is what I'm not making this up. Xenu. Yeah, so Lord Xenu's like some galactic overlord or something, and he, like, wiped out a whole planet worth of beings or whatnot.
This just sounds like Howard the Duck.
Yo, it's even wilder than that. And so then he took all the souls of all the people that he killed and trapped them, and then flew them on golden 727s. 727s, mind you. They don't have spaceships. They have golden human-made planes instead of their own shit. 727s. And then they went to over one of the volcanoes in Hawaii and dropped all the trapped souls in there. And then that's who we are. Like, we were just like, monkeys or Neanderthals or whatnot, and all these trapped souls inhabited all of us and made us into people. And that's why we are all, like, depressed and sad and shit, because we have all this fucking repressed memories of our past lives and shit. It's so fucking wild, dude. It is absolutely insane. And it's just like, this is what y'all go to church for? Like this? Lord Xenu? It's dude, it's absolutely fucking nuts. So, shout out to L. Ron Hubbard for making that thing happen and becoming ultra rich off of that fucking bullshit story. Yeah, so Larry Bird, I never watched that movie. Was that literally was that the real story of Xenu and shit? Because now I'm going to have to watch that movie. So apparently John Travolta made a movie called Battlefield Earth. And I guess that's kind of like the story. And it's like, it's one of the worst movies that's ever been made. Like, everyone across the board is like, this is the worst movie that's ever been made.
Is he into Scientology?
Yeah, of course he is. Like, hardcore. Yeah, John Travolta and Tom Cruise, they were like, the apostles or whatnot. The Scientology apostles. Yeah, so and it's real in the Battlefield Earth. But yeah, man, I'm gonna have to watch Battlefield Earth. I won't be able to make it through it. It's gonna be terrible.
I think I remember that he has mad makeup on and some shit in that movie, right?
Yeah, like he looks like the Predator kind of. He's got dreads and shit.
I remember this. I might have actually seen that movie. Yeah, yo, you saw the one where he did the Limp Bizkit movie, bro? That shit was crazy.
No, I have not. No.
Yo, Fred Durst. Yo, I don't think I'm on the screen. Yo, Fred Durst.
Oh, I did it again. God damn it.
Yo, Fred Durst wrote and directed a movie, son. And they put it out right before COVID started, and it's about like a crazed fan, like 5'10", and it's like obsessed with him. But it's not him in the movie. It's just like another random guy.
Oh, if he didn't.
John Travolta is the crazed fan, yo, and it's just so OD. He's like autistic or some shit, yo. It's crazy, bro. Like, you gotta watch that shit. It's like, yo, what is he doing? Like,
I promise you, I have never heard of a Fred Durst written and directed movie. That is for sure. Cause yo,
and it's new.
Yeah, I know. Right when yeah, why would you do that now? Wouldn't you want to do that when like Limp Bizkit was a thing? Yeah, and then as soon as the world got locked down, we all got locked into Tiger King anyway, so nobody's watching the Fred Durst movie.
Yeah, I still never saw that shit.
That's forever going to be part of American history. Like world history is going to be Tiger King. Because that was the first thing that went viral during the lockdown, was like everybody was just like, yo, have you seen this shit on Netflix? Because it's so completely over the fucking top, dude. These people can't be real, but they are. They're like, you're going to think it's like an MTV scripted reality show.
That's what I'm saying.
But,
I mean, and then that's what all these dudes like my series. I had a series I was going to do with Vice, right? And we were going to start shooting in April 2020. So the whole shit got fucked up. And then when shit got popping again, they took all the bread they had and the budget that they was going to use for that. They start doing shit like this. So they're going to different states, down south, a lot, Midwest, all these places. Yeah, like, I don't know if these motherfuckers who got inspired by this shit, I think they probably been like this, but there's mad weird shit like that going on, like in Miami, different
Hey, listen, man.
Different.
The South is different. The South is different. The South is different, man. I grew up amongst, I grew up in the mountains of West Virginia, man. The South is different. So, yeah, I've never seen the Fred Durst movie. Tiger King's completely over the top, dude. The main guy can't be real. That guy can't be real, but he is. He's a
I never watched it. I saw the first episode and I was just like, this is just stupid as hell. Like,
Tin Can, what up, homie? That and then Squid Games came out, which I actually just watched again because when I got back from Thanksgiving down south,
thank you.
I didn't feel good.
Need to watch that too.
Plus, I was going through the whole, I'm not going to do this ever again. I have to like do something else. The whole leave the nest of Infamous and go start and do my own thing. That was outrageously stressful transition because I had only been doing one thing for basically 15 straight years. So I was just kind of laying around doing nothing. I wasn't even really smoking, but I was just like, I didn't feel good. So I watched Squid Games again. Dude, that shit's so fucking good, man. It's so good. Like, actually good.
I didn't even get through the first episode of that. I gotta try that again.
That's because, like, the first episode is...
I also think it has to do with what I was telling you before, though. Like, I don't know what the attention. I don't know what it is.
Well, also, I mean, you have to. It's Korean, so you have to read subtitles. So
and it's the intro. Like, usually you got to get over a hump to get engaged really with the shit.
That's what I'm saying. They're doing. Seth, what up, homie? They're doing like character building and introduction and shit like that in the first episode, and the Korean culture. Very loud and sudden, like loud and very sudden and kind of like animated, I guess is a good thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's like, they're in South Korea, which you get to see everything. So you're looking at like, everything's so bright. There's so many neon lights and bright, loud noises because they have like these arcades that like you go and win money and shit, and it's like people spend all day in them shits. And it's like just bells, and this guy's, you know, he gambles, he loses money, he's like constantly doing shit like this. So like the first episode or two is just so over the top with stimulus, and then once it actually gets going, it's really fucking good. It's just, I have audio sensitivity, man. I don't like all that loud and suddenness.
I don't like that shit either, and that might have a reason. That might be a reason why I was like, nah.
Yeah, no, but after that, you know, when things get serious, when people start dying, there's none of that loud, over-the-top shit. Everything's real fucking like, oh, shit, people are dying. But we can get this bread, so let's go get this bread. Wild. There's one episode, I think it's number 6. There's 8 episodes. I think it's the 6th episode. Dude, that shit is so... That one in particular is so fucking good. So, I mean, I think they're going to make another one, a part 2. They ended it with him, like, you know, calling them back and being like, nah, motherfuckers, I'm coming for you or some shit like that. And him walking into the camera. So it's just like, are they going to do a second part now?
I'm going to check it out.
You have to. It is really good. You just gotta
watch that.
You know, you just gotta power through the first couple episodes because it is, you know, all the building, and it's just like, all right, let's just get to the murder. I want to see people die in hilarious ways.
Right.
But
that's why I gotta watch White Lotus. Like, I gotta watch the 2nd season of White Lotus.
See, I will not get into anything until football's over, which it's almost over. So
that shit is fucking hilarious, yo. Everyone just gets like, it's literally just a show about a bunch of people like getting bobbed, like in one way or another. Like, it's like you have to watch it.
See, this is why you have to get dowered for the Dour Hour. It's much funnier whenever you're dowered. All this seriousness you had the last 2 days or the last 2 times we did this, like that wrong type of dour.
I don't think I dowered.
You didn't. Now you're dowered, and it makes way more sense.
I don't usually dower this early in the afternoon anymore.
Well, I don't either. I just actually, whenever we do this is the first blunt I smoked during the day. The past couple weeks have been like this. Instead of me just completely dowering myself to retardation on a daily basis. Yeah. I don't have anything to do. I don't have any reason, like there's no purpose.
Shit is slow right now. It's the holidays, you know what I'm saying? It's cold outside. It's like, what's really going on? Like people are just, it's always weird now. It's been weird the last couple of years for sure.
Well, not only that, I was just down in Manhattan, and dude, the tourists, they're back. The Christmas tourists. This is like the first year of the Christmas tourist being back. Dude, there's just lines for everything and people standing on sidewalks looking at maps or Waze. Like looking at maps, trying to figure out where they have to go to get to where they actually are supposed to be. And I was just like, oh, these are all fucking tourists. I forgot. Like, because, you guys don't understand. Manhattan went from being 90% tourist to an actual ghost town, which was freaky as hell. It felt like a zombie movie. Nobody in Manhattan. There was nobody, dude. Nobody was downtown when it was lockdown time. And then they took all the homeless and the mental patients, and the mental patients, they took them out of the hospitals and put them in hotels in Manhattan. So Manhattan turned into Skid Row.
On the Upper West Side.
Yeah, it was nuts. What the fuck were they thinking? And then, even just last year was just like New Yorkers and like people who live here or work here. It wasn't like tourism. Not right now.
A lot of people left, too. Like, mad New Yorkers I know, too, made that either Florida or Cali move. And it's like, damn, like.
So, before I get off of here and end this Dour Hour, I will tell, it reminded me of the last time. I've only been in New York twice when it felt like a zombie movie. Once was the Roni shutdown, wild for everything to be shut down. But the other time, Hurricane Sandy. Yo, you remember Manhattan lost power?
Yeah, I just moved to Brooklyn, so that was kind of crazy. But yeah, I walked over the bridge to go there.
See, what you guys don't understand about like Manhattan is they never turn off the lights, ever. So even when the world was shut down for the Roni, the lights were still on. All the neon signs, the digital billboards, everything was still on. Nothing ever got shut off. During Hurricane Sandy, it was total blackout. I mean, shut off. And what's Pease do? What's Pease say? Yo, let's go to Manhattan. I was like, what? He's just like, yo, let's drive around. I want to go see what it looks like. So it got the dude who had, I forget his name, but he had the big ass black Suburban. And me, him, P,
Jay.
Yeah, Jay was with us because he definitely took security with us during that trip. And there was another person with us. But we just drove around Manhattan. I can't remember his name now because when we actually got to the club, he got into a fight with somebody and we stopped fucking with him pretty much. But we're just driving around, yo, and I swear to God, it was like a zombie movie. It was dead quiet. There were no lights anywhere in anybody's cribs. No, it was just pitch black. There wasn't nobody. And then all of a sudden, we turn left and we just see like a beacon of light, like way down. It's just like, oh, what the fuck is that? And it was, what was that club back then? Green Room?
Greenhouse.
Yeah, Greenhouse. So Greenhouse had their own generators. So, yo, Greenhouse was like fully operational, and once people found out, and that was literally the only place that even had lights on, let alone like drinks and Javon, what up, homie? Like humanity, dude, that shit was fucking rocking in there. So during zombie period, Sandy Hook shutdown, or not Sandy Hook, Hurricane Sandy shutdown, we went to Greenhouse 2 days in a row. So as we're leaving, it's like 4 a.m. on the second night, we're literally walking down the block and God turned on Manhattan. It looked like it was actually like a movie. It went block by block, and it made that noise. Choo, choo. All the lights all turned on at once, block at a time. And you could just see him going down the fucking street past us, like, choo, 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 choo. I was just like, oh, what the fuck? Twisted, too. Absolutely hammered, because we didn't have shit else to do. That was a really freaking fucking moment. Like, all them boom, boom, boom. It was literally like that sound that electricity in movies makes when it gets turned on, like that loud click, block by block. And it was just like, oh, shit. And then you just saw people kind of just start, like, pouring out into the street. Like, oh, there's light. It was really weird. It was really fucking weird, man. Like, really.
I don't remember. I just remember it was weird seeing it like a wasteland and shit. I mean, we had a blackout in 2003 that lasted like a day or two, but like. Yeah,
I wasn't here yet. 2003.
I was a kid too.
I just went to college, or I just dropped out of school and went to the Art Institute. I didn't come to New York until 2004. So that was literally right before me.
I was 13, dog. Like, that shit was crazy.
But yeah, man. Manhattan with nobody in it is a very, very scary scenario.
Yeah, I know this model that I knew who was from somewhere else or some shit, but she was staying here. She was chilling during it when the shit started, the pandemic started. She's in fucking hanging out in Times Square when she's the only one there. I'm like, yo, she's wilding, bro. Like, what the fuck? Like, I wasn't even going to check all that out until later.
Well, I mean, my niece and nephew came up to visit because they had been locked down for like 6-7 months. I was like, yo, I mean, we're locked down too, but you can come up here.
Yeah, but 6-7 months later, that's much more into it. I'm talking March. March.
Well, so
when everyone's gone.
You know, I didn't go to Manhattan during March, but even it's like 6 months later when we went, dude, there was nobody. We went at like 2 a.m. I walked down 7th Avenue down the street 4 blocks before we saw a car. like 3-4 saw the lights go green and red multiple times. We're just walking down the middle. I'm just like, yo, you guys don't understand this is impossible. This never happens.
No, it was weird for a minute. You're right. It was still weird. I'm forgetting how.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, out in Brooklyn, day one of lockdown, I was out. I have a dog. You were allowed to walk your dog.
Yeah.
And, he's a service animal anyway, so I was just like, yo, come on, dude, we out. So we were even past 9 p.m. when the curfew was, the cops would just pull up and be like, and then just keep on going. It's like,
yo, I forgot about the curfew too. So.
Yeah, dude, we were 9 o'clock curfew. You had to be inside, but if you had a dog, you could be outside. So it's just like you have to walk your dog. So it was just like, yo, we out. Come on, dude, we out. And that's actually when I taught him to be off leash, because there was nobody else. It was only us. Where's he gonna go? There's no cars. There's no people. There's no
going on.
So I was just like, yo, I just unhooked him. I was just like, all right, let's see what happens. And he's been like that ever since. So, all right, man, I got shit to do. It is Christmas cookie season, and I've been making cookies all goddamn day. I actually did think about you because my mom, the kindest, gentlest soul that there was, used to make this guy his own special cookies because he's gluten-free. And she heard me talk about it, and she's just like, "Oh, that means he can't eat my cookies. I'm gonna make him some gluten-free ones."
I remember that forever, bro. Because I don't even think it was just once. It was a couple.
It was every time until she passed. She would literally make you gluten-free cookies. So
this was so crazy, bro.
Yeah, I just made. I already banged out 2 kinds today. It's not even 5. I'm trying to get 5 done today. Because I just realized it's the 20th. I got like 5 days to knock out 20 different kinds of cookies.
The clock is ticking right now. I'm forgetting too. It's crazy. I didn't realize it was the 20th today. That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't until I looked at it because I was writing in the title what the day is. I was like, damn, it's the 20th already? Fuck.
I've seen it today, but I'm not really registering it until right now. You say it. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, man, I've been in the hoodie shop for days trying to get everything done before the end of the year. So I kind of lost track on time, like literally. Like a week straight I've been like just grinding out, and I kind of lost track on time. All of a sudden it's the 20th. I was like, oh shit, Christmas is literally right around the corner. So, all right, man.
It's this week.
Yeah, that's it for this episode of the Dour Hour. I got hoodies to make and cookies to make. What a life it is. Shout out to everybody for coming through for the Dour Hour. Shout out to the Dour people. And, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow if you actually remember that we do this.
Light up.
Oh, my God. All right, so, yeah, I'm grateful for everybody coming through. I got cookies to make and hoodies to make, and I got to go walk my dog. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning for morning meditation and tomorrow afternoon for the Dour Hour. Remember, 2023 is right around the corner, and we will get back into a full YouTube slate in 2023, including Member Mondays, the return of Beat Boutique, and all the other dope shit that I used to do I'm going to bring back. So I will see you guys tomorrow.